You didn't arrive here by chance. And before anything else, I need to prove that to you. For the past 3 days, something inside you hasn't been fitting together. You wake up before the alarm goes off, stare at the ceiling, and feel like there's a conversation happening underneath your life that you're not quite hearing. You grab your phone reflexively, but nothing on the screen answers the silent question that's been following you. There's a restlessness that isn't anxiety, isn't fear, isn't fatigue. It's the exact feeling that an invisible threshold is approaching, and you can no longer pretend it isn't there. If what I just described matches what you're living through right now, then you need to understand something. This transmission is reaching you because your frequency is already tuned to receive what comes next. And what comes next is this. Today, August 8th, the Lion's Gate of 2026 opens. And it will not pass through you the way it passes through most. There are 8 specific spiritual gifts this date brings, and you're about to be introduced to each one in the next few minutes. Not as pretty theory, as operational code for the next 90 days of your life. August 8th is not just another date on the astrological calendar. It is the exact point where 3 energetic currents align and form a transmission window that stays open for approximately 72 hours around the central date. The first current is the Sun moving through the heart of the constellation Leo, activating courage, inner authority, and personal power. The second is the symbolic alignment with the star Sirius, which within various ancestral traditions is understood as a source of accelerated spiritual information, a kind of broadcaster of codes that becomes more audible in this specific window of the year. And the third, perhaps the most important for your moment, is the numerological repetition of 8 by 8, which in vibrational reading carries the pattern of infinity reflected upon itself, abundance that expands, cycles that close to make room for others that open. Let me open up the code of August 8th in a way almost nobody explains. The number 8, lying on its side, is the symbol of infinity. 2 8s side by side form 4 loops that cross at a central point. That central point, in the ancient vibrational reading, is the folding point, the place where linear time curves and the past, the present, and the future are able to exchange information with one another through a short window. That's why on this date, people report with disproportionate frequency the sensation of reliving old decisions, of running into someone from the past by chance, of dreaming about versions of themselves that were left behind. It's not nostalgia. It's the field delivering material for you to close cycles that were left hanging, and Sirius within this architecture is not a mystical fairy tale star. Sirius is the brightest star in the night sky, and during this time of year it rises heliacally, appearing on the horizon just before the sun, a phenomenon the ancient Egyptians used to mark the beginning of the spiritual new year. They built entire temples aligned with that rising. You don't have to believe any of this to feel the effect. The effect happens independently of your belief, the same way the tide rises even if you've never heard of the moon. When these 3 currents overlap, the electromagnetic field around those who are awake begins to operate in a different way. You notice it in the body before you notice it in the mind. Sleep changes texture. Dreams become sharper, almost filmed. Coincidences increase in frequency and stop feeling like coincidence. People you haven't thought about in months show up without warning. Names, numbers, images begin to repeat with an insistence the rational mind can no longer dismiss. And this is where humanity divides into 2 groups before this portal. The majority will feel all of this and will attribute it to work stress, accumulated fatigue, a poorly slept night. They will walk right past the window without realizing they were inside it. And when the window closes, on the 12th day after today, those people will remain exactly where they were, blaming the world for a life that doesn't change. The second group, an absolute minority, has the internal infrastructure to recognize what is happening and act within the window while it is still alive. You are part of the second group, otherwise this transmission would not have reached you. And I want you to understand something about this minority. It is not made up of people who are more intelligent, more mystical, more evolved in some generic sense. It is made up of people who have developed through pain or through choice a specific ability, the ability to feel the difference between what is passing emotional noise and what is a real call from the field. It is a calibrated sensitivity, and it can be trained. You probably started developing it without realizing it. Over the last 12 to 18 months, every time you caught yourself saying, "I knew that was going to happen," after some event in your life. That "I knew" was your field already operating on the portal's frequency, months before it opened. Now, before I open the first gift, I need to be very direct with you about what a portal actually is, because this is the part that separates those who harvest August 8th from those who just watch it pass by. A portal is not an astronomical event. A portal is the turning point where the cost of staying stuck in your current life becomes greater than the terror of taking the next step. It's the moment the universe stops whispering and starts screaming through physical signs: exhaustion, boredom, an anger with no address, a urge to disappear for 2 days. You take the step, and the ground appears. Not before. Never before. And the 2026 Lionsgate is exactly that kind of trigger. It exposes, in high definition, the real cost of you continuing to be who you were until last December. And this is where I need to tell you something. Over the last few months, I've been receiving the same message from people on 3 different continents. I feel what's happening, I feel the portal, I feel the signs, but I don't know what to do with it on Monday morning. That's why I prepared magic in 28 exercises, the 28 Keys of Awakening made for you. It's a 28-day journey, one complete lunar cycle, designed precisely to turn the restlessness you're feeling right now into clear language, the shadow into decision, the sign into practical direction. It's not a theory course. It's the missing structure between what you feel and what you do. If you want to cross the Lionsgate window with ground beneath your feet instead of hope in the wind, the link is in the first pinned comment below this video. And if this transmission is hitting somewhere inside you right now, comment "I'm inside the window." This isn't an engagement request. It's an energetic declaration. The universe reads what you write as a signed intention. Back to what matters. The first gift the Portal du Lion brings you is the accelerated awakening of intuition. And I need to de-romanticize what that means, because intuition in pop culture has become synonymous with a pretty guess. It's not. Intuition, within this August 8th window, is the moment when your nervous system begins to pick up signals your rational brain still can't name. You walk into a place and feel it on your skin that that place isn't for you, even before you understand why. You start a conversation with someone and your throat locks for no apparent reason. And 3 weeks later, you find out that person lied about something essential. You look at a seemingly perfect professional offer and your stomach clenches. In the next 10 to 12 days, these signals will triple in intensity. You'll have effortless clarity about things you'd been trying to decipher for months. Names will pop into your head seconds before the phone rings. You'll wake up in the middle of the night with ready-made answers to questions you hadn't even formulated yet. And the gift here, the real one, isn't receiving these signals. It's trusting them fast enough to act while the window is still open. Most people will receive the signals and ask for more time. You can't afford that luxury. In this window, hesitation costs 90 days. Let me illustrate this with a real case I've witnessed more than once. A person receives, 3 days before the portal, the clear intuition that they need to talk to a specific person. The rational mind immediately chimes in. But I don't have the number. But it'll seem weird. But it's been too long. The window closes. 6 months later, they find out that that person had exactly the information, the contact, the opportunity that would have changed the course of that year. That's not bad luck. That's the exact cost of not trusting the signal the moment it arrives. Intuition in the Portal du Lion window has a short shelf life. You receive, you act. Or you receive, file it away mentally with "I'll think about it later." And later never arrives at the right moment. The second gift is the forced release of the past. And I call it forced because the Lionsgate doesn't ask if you're ready. It simply creates the conditions in which holding on to what has already died becomes physically unbearable. A relationship you already knew was over will start to hurt in a new way. A job you tolerated out of comfort will become unbearable overnight. A friendship you kept out of history will reveal, in a single conversation, that there's no substance left in it anymore. This isn't punishment. This is the portal removing ballast so you can rise. You lose nothing that was truly yours in this window. You only lose what was consuming energy without giving anything back. The third gift comes right after, and it's inner clarity, the kind of clarity you can't produce with positive thinking, an app meditation, or a gratitude list. It's the clarity that appears when the noise around you drops 1 decibel and you finally hear what your soul has been saying for 2 years while you pretend not to listen. You'll look at decisions that seemed impossible in recent weeks, and you'll see with surgical sharpness what the next move is. It won't be comfortable. It will be undeniable. And the fourth gift is the activation of new paths that were invisible to you until now. A seemingly mundane conversation will open a professional door you didn't know existed. An invitation you almost declined will place you before a person who changes your trajectory. A video, a book, a random comment will plant an idea in you that you'll recognize as your own, without being able to explain how it got there. These first 4 gifts together form what I call root sanitization. The portal is clearing the ground for what comes after. And that's exactly why many people will feel this period as chaos, because cleaning always looks like mess in the middle of the process. If you're in the middle of that feeling right now, breathe. This is confirmation, not error. Now, if you're understanding all of this, but still feel you need a hand to hold to get through the next 28 days without getting lost, the first pinned comment has the structure I built precisely for that crossing, not for later, for inside the window. The fifth gift that the Portal du Lion brings is the open field for abundance. And I need to be precise about what that means, because abundance has become an empty word in many people's mouths. Abundance within this window is not money falling from the sky. It is your ability to recognize in the middle of the normal flow of the day opportunities that were there all along and that you couldn't see because of the accumulated mental noise. A proposal that had been stalled for weeks comes back with a different guise. An idea of yours that seemed to have no market starts receiving signals that demand exists. A shelved project calls you back with a new angle that changes everything. The sixth gift is spiritual alignment on an operational level, and that means the following. The distance between what you say, what you think, and what you do begins to shrink on its own. You stop sabotaging yourself in small decisions. You stop saying yes when your body wants to say no. You stop postponing what you know needs to be done. Not because you became a disciplined person overnight, because the portal's energy field reduces internal resistance. It's as if someone removed a layer of friction from your life. And the seventh gift, the most delicate of the three, is the reconnection with the soul's purpose. Pay attention to the verb, reconnection, not discovery. You already know what your purpose is. You already knew at 13, 14 years old before the world began convincing you that it wasn't practical. What the Portal du Lion does is remove the film that accumulated over that memory. You will come to feel in your chest what you had come here to do, and you will have to decide what to do with that information, because once that memory returns, ignoring it costs dearly, very dearly. The small dream stops serving. The average life stops fitting. And here, I need to be surgical about something that lazy spirituality hides. Reconnecting with purpose does not immediately make you happy. It immediately makes you responsible. And responsibility hurts more in the beginning than illusion does. You will look back and see years that were spent on the wrong route. You will see decisions that were made from fear and not from the call. You will recognize in uncomfortable detail every time you chose lesser suffering instead of the greater call. That will hurt for 3 to 5 days. Then something settles, and what settles in its place is a peace different from the superficial peace that most people chase, a peace made of direction, not comfort. You are not at peace because everything is easy. You are at peace because, for the first time in a long time, you are heading toward the right place. These 3 gifts together, abundance, alignment, and purpose, are what tradition calls the Trinity of manifestation. They do not operate separately. They come as a block, and they demand from you one thing no one wants to talk about, the courage to receive. Most people cannot receive these 3 gifts because deep down they still believe they don't deserve them. And the Portal will not convince you that you deserve them. It will only place the opportunities in front of you. Accepting or not is your decision. And we arrive at the 8th gift, the most radical of all 8, and the one that gives meaning to everything that came before. The rebirth of a new version of you after the Lion's Gate. I want you to understand the exact dimension of what I'm saying. This isn't motivation. It isn't metaphor. It's identity code being rewritten. The person who crosses August 8th with awareness of what's happening is not the same person who comes out the other side. You'll notice it first in details that seem small. Clothes you used to wear will no longer represent you. Songs that moved you will feel distant. Conversations that fed you will drain you. You'll go through a phase of feeling like a stranger to yourself, as if you were inhabiting a body whose old measurements no longer fit. That's the portal doing its work. That's the old version stepping out so the new one can step in. Think with me about a biological image that explains this better than any theory. The crab, when it grows, needs to shed its shell. It goes through a period when the old shell has already cracked, but the new one hasn't hardened yet. During those hours, it's exposed, soft, vulnerable to any predator. It's the most dangerous moment of its life, and it's also the only way it can reach its next size. You're entering exactly this period. Your old shell, or the identity you built to survive the last 5, 10, 15 years, has already cracked. You feel it no longer serves you, but you haven't built the new one yet. In this interval, everything seems uncertain. You doubt your own decisions. You look at people who are steady in their lives and wonder why you're spinning your wheels. You're not spinning your wheels. You're between shells. And it's precisely here that most people make the fatal mistake of trying to go back to the old shell, taping the pieces together, pretending it still fits. It doesn't fit anymore. And every day you try to force the old one, the new one takes longer to harden. And here's the point. No one wants to face head-on. This transition, if you don't have structure, lasts months. You stay in limbo between who you were and who you're becoming, not knowing how to behave, not knowing what to prioritize, not knowing who to talk to about it. And it's in this limbo that most people give up. It's in this limbo that most people run back to the old version because it's familiar, even if it's painful. That's why I built Magia em 28 Exercicios as 28 Chaves do Despertar. It's the bridge that sustains you exactly in this transition period. 28 days, each day with a practical key, so you don't lose the new version of yourself between leaving the portal and the next full moon. This isn't a course to read, it's a course to live. Each exercise is designed to turn signal into decision and decision into movement. If you've made it this far in this video, you're no longer in the watching phase, you're in the crossing phase. The link is in the first pinned comment, not for tomorrow. The portal window is open now. Every day of delay is a day of wasted signal. And if you recognize that this transmission reached you by precision and not by chance, comment I stepped through this window. Sign this intention. The universe reads. Now we've reached the final point of this transmission, and it is decisive. How in practice you receive the 8 gifts of the Lion's Portal of 2026, because none of what I've described so far will happen to you if you keep waiting for the portal to do the work on its own. That is the great lie of lazy spirituality, the idea that having good intentions is enough and the universe does the rest. It doesn't. The universe opens the window. You're the one who steps in, and entering requires 3 concrete movements in the next 72 hours. The first movement is deliberate silence. Set aside, sometime between today and next Tuesday, a block of at least 90 minutes with no phone, no screen, no music, just you and your breath. Let your body release what it has been holding. Write by hand, without editing, everything that comes. You'll be surprised by what appears on the page. The second movement is the choice of a postponed decision. You know which one it is. You've been carrying it for months. Maybe a conversation that needs to be had. Maybe a resignation. Maybe a yes you didn't have the courage to say. Maybe a no that got stuck in your throat. Choose one and carry it out within the window. Not the easiest one, the most alive one, the one that, if you resolve it, changes everything else. The third movement is the written declaration of intent. Take paper and pen, not your phone, and write in one short sentence, in the present tense, who you are from the end of this window onward. Don't write what you want to become. Write who you already are from now on. And read that sentence every morning for the next 28 days. Write with a strong present tense verb. Not I will be brave, but I am the person who decides at the right moment. Not I want to prosper, but I receive what is already mine by right of the field. The grammar you use in that sentence matters more than you imagine, because the unconscious responds to verb tense as if it were an order. The present is an order. The future is postponement. These three movements on their own already place you in a completely different vibration from someone who only watched this video. But I need to be direct with you about one last thing. What you just heard here was the preparation. The final revelation of what this Lion's Portal energy means for your next timeline is in the video that now appears on the screen beside you. Click on it. The first 60 seconds will reorganize what you just received. And if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, understand what's at stake. Every video here is a coordinate within a larger map, the map of the 2026 energetic window. If you're left with only pieces of the map, you'll reach the end of the year without having the full picture. The next videos show exactly what happens after this August 8 window closes, what the next activation dates are, and how to position yourself in each one. Losing the sequence is losing the context. You didn't come this far to lose the context. You came this far because some part of you already knows that 2026 is your turning point year, and this transmission was only the confirmation. Now go to the next video. The window is open, and the next movement is yours.